How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. So I just got back from seeing the latest Sword Art Online movie, that being the second Sword Art Online movie, Scherzo of Deep Night. Progressively, these Sword Art movies keep getting more and more difficult names to say. This video will include spoilers for this movie, and I'm just going to give my impressions of the movie and just kind of random thoughts about it, because this one I have at least more opinions on than the first one, which this movie I feel benefits greatly from you having seen the first one and or Sword Art Online the series, because it really doesn't hold your hand on like knowing who people are if you didn't know who they were, which for me I think was nice because we don't have to waste time having to establish relationships with people. You're just straight into relationships, which I think is the best part of this movie, particularly Kirito and Asuna. The relationship is very nice throughout this, and I feel like it's more organic than what it was originally in like the base series. They're having more dialogue throughout this to where it actually makes sense that they like fall in love together. I really enjoyed all like the little moments with them because there's a lot of time with those two together throughout this whole movie. I think some of my favorite bits between them is like the very end where they're celebrating New Year's together. That was very cute. Just a small little quaint character moment that you get to have between the two of them, which this was taking place on New Year's of 2023 for that moment. And I was like, gosh dang it, because this movie came out in February. And I was like, gosh dang it, dude, this would have been so cool if they released this like a month ago. And it was like New Year's, like right as you're seeing this movie. Other little moments I like between the two of them. After they beat the boss of the dungeon for this movie, they give like that guild like an ultimatum to get that rally flag. And they all pretty much berate Kirito. And I liked Asuna comforting him. That was a really sweet moment. At least like when you watch like the main series, I don't think he gets like that kind of level of comforting from Asuna. And especially they don't really address how pretty much everyone hates him. Like at least in the main Sword Art Online. Because they all kind of like see him as like this entitled solo player. In all actuality, like his reason for being solo was honestly kind of noble. And especially like in this. Because he wanted to be solo like to not tie down himself to a guild and, you know, be able to help the people he cares about. The little moment with like her being so upset that like people were treating him terribly and he's just cool with it, and like she's like, I gotta be the one to comfort this guy now. It was a very nice moment between those two. I like that whenever Asuna was doing something, like he was always following her just to make sure she's good, because she got lost in like that cave and he's like, I'm always gonna follow you, make sure you're safe, you know, I'm gonna watch your back. That was very nice as well. So going away from Kirito and Asuna for a little bit here, let's talk about some other things. I am blanking on what her name was, but she's like the kind of like cat character in this movie. She has like little cat whiskers on her cheeks and like yellow hair. She has like Wolverine claws, and her abilities, like she's really fast and she gets them their intel and she's an info broker. I don't remember her name, I'm sorry. I thought she was really fun, and I thought the relationship she had with Asuna was really fun. Especially with Asuna like looking out for her, because she's mainly like a solo-y player as well, and she's kind of seeing her almost like Kirito in a way. But then they have like that pool scene to where she kind of like proves like, hey, I'm not as weak as I look. That whole thing was pretty darn fun with those two. Now Mito from the first one, she gets a little bit of a spotlight in this, like with her showing up during the dungeon, and I liked her fight with Asuna, but like she's pretty sidelined compared to the first one. Now this movie to me definitely feels like a setup movie. I feel like these are going to be a lot better when you get that third movie to come out, which is already confirmed. The main subplot of this one, and even if you go look at the trailer, they try and make it seem like this movie is just completely about like people team killing each other, which is a subplot in this movie, which goes nowhere because no one is team killed at all during this movie. This is going to be a little bit out of order, but it'll make sense in a second here. This movie definitely has a moment where it's like, oh, it's ended. right when they defeat the dungeon boss, you're like, oh, cool, they defeated it. They told that guild their ultimatum. Asuna and Kirito had a nice little, fireworks moment. That's probably the end of the movie right there. And to me, it felt like the end of the movie. I was like, okay, we're about to roll credits. But then it kept going. So I was like, oh, I guess we're going still. This is where we're going back to the team killing now, because that's when like Asuna and Kirito get ambushed by a guy who's threatening to team kill them. And that's when they get out of that situation and they realize, oh, hey, there's a group of players trying to team kill each other. Maybe we should go and stop them. And that's when Kirito was like, I'm going to go do this alone. And Asuna was like, I'm going to join you. Let's do this together. And that's where I was like, oh, cool. We're going to get them having an awesome like team killer fight to end this movie. You got the whole team killer subplot done. Once that's done, we're going to have like a cool roll the credits thing. But no, that's like literally right where the movie ends, like with them going to go trying to hunt down these team killed players. For this movie basically being advertised as this is the movie where they're going to do the team killer subplot. And then it literally has no team killing in it, and they just defeated a dungeon boss. That left quite a bit to be desired right there. It really depends on what they do with this third movie, because if they don't address that at all, and you just had it with them going off to go fight this group of team killers, then really what was the point of this movie? Setting up all this conflict between the guilds and all this player tension. But regardless of that, even if it doesn't get addressed whatsoever, I will say this movie is pretty darn fun without that, because pretty much all the fights in this are absolutely gorgeous. And besides that, I just really like the Asuna Kirito stuff, which was really nice and sweet. And the surrounding characters around them, I quite liked. And I like the whole guild party that they had go take on that dungeon boss by themselves. I thought that was pretty fun. Now it makes me wonder for the third movie, are you going to get like the additional like sword art characters finally showing up? They're most definitely going to keep Mito in because she's been a movie only character for these past two. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think personally for myself, I enjoyed the first one more. I think the first one was a lot better as a standalone. I feel like this movie felt way more like a setup movie than an actual, enclosed product. I did really enjoy it. I feel like you definitely would have had to have seen the original movie to have a lot of it make sense. That first movie still wins out for me just because I think a lot of things were done a lot better there. But at least you didn't have to spend a ton of time establishing everyone in this movie. What are your guys' thoughts on the second Sword Art Online progressive movie? Leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.